For the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the sham. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the sham. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. This is a jam for the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the sham.
Wait, stop the music! Hold it! Hold it! Stop the music!
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Can I please have your attention?
Now showtime. Are you ready? Are you ready for start time?
Let's find out. Ready, let's go.
Well, hello everybody. How you doing today? Top of the evening to ya. Hope you're doing good. Sending you all these little emoji hearts your way. Whoosh! Internet bound. Can you feel them? Want you to surround yourself with a little bit of TLC and just make the world a little bit more colorful for you for a minute or two. So let me know how you're doing today. If you're watching live, let me know you're here live. If it's replay, do the hashtag replay. I always come back and read the comments, and I love it when you guys engage with me. And today is a chance for us to talk about something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle, and that includes being too hard on yourself. Entrepreneurs and many other people, even a lot of creative people that sometimes, maybe working solo or even with a group of people, it can come to a point that we get a little bit too hard on ourselves. And it's important to, number one, identify it and then start to think of what are some things that can be done proactively to really bring some positive energy into your mind that's authentic, not just brushing over problems and not dealing with it, but instead realizing some different things that have maybe been holding you back from negative self-talk or putting too much negative pressure, too many people that are negative or whatever. There's a lot of different circumstances that can happen that can impact the way that we're feeling about ourselves. And that can be a determining factor in you being able to perform your best performance and you being able to achieve goals that maybe you've been trying to work on for a while, and maybe there's just something that's in your vortex right now that's being held back. So I want to know from you, do you think that you're too hard on yourself? Or do you think that, maybe you need to be a little bit harder on yourself with some self-discipline? Because sometimes that's needed too. So I don't want you to intermix the two of not doing anything and then you're hard on yourself versus going out there, doing what you need to do to bring some goodness into your life. So today we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I know that this is something that I have to be proactive with myself. And that's one of the reasons why I picked it out, because I've seen it too often where people that are, really trying to nail it out of the park, or things just don't align right. And then they just come down way too hard on the way that, they're doing. So let's stop that. Are you ready? Does it sound good to stop that now? If it does, throw me an emoji down below. Let me know that you're with me here today. So I am pretty grateful today. I had a chance to go meet with some old clients who were getting ready for our first Hurley ball in a couple years. Thank God. Super happy about that. And the beautiful thing is when Hurley Foundation throws an event like this, it's always for enriching our community. And in this particular case, they're doing something that's extraordinary. And you might not know some of the simple things that are not so simple when a crisis happens in a family. So in this particular case, they're going to be raising funds for a new behavioral project for, I think it's 12 to 18-year-old youths. And this includes, mental health issues where there's a crisis that's happening, and these families, these children need help now. Unfortunately, right now, there's really no resources in our community. So these families that have something very traumatic happen, it could be, teenage suicide concern or many other things. They would have to travel to a whole nother county when all was breaking loose in their life. And because Hurley's taken this initiative, they're actually creating a resource in our community. So we're meeting for that ball, and this year's theme is actually going to be pretty spectacular. Through the Looking Glass, which is sort of a spin-off of Alice in Wonderland. And I'm just, number one, I'm incredibly grateful to be getting back into working again for so many reasons. But for an in-person event, it's spectacular. And especially when there's a benefit attached to it that is going to contribute to our community. So I feel really honored. These are the moments where I feel like my work serves a purpose above and beyond just me, above and beyond just an income. And these are messages that are important for you too, in whatever capacity that you're working at. Is if you are involved in things that are above and beyond just yourself, it's a fantastic way for you to be able to get into alignment, not be too hard on yourself, realizing the different things that you're bringing into those projects. So I want to encourage that for you. Find different ways that you can be proactive in your community, work on something, and it's for the good of other people. And you happen to also be a recipient of one of those gifts of sharing that kindness, that goodness into the world. So anyhow, with that being said, today we're featuring little sparkles and sunshine to hopefully help you get on track and stop being so hard on yourself. Because when you get into this cycle of being too difficult on yourself, sometimes even more difficult, hard on yourself than you would be to other people, it's terrible. And I know I've been guilty of it. I've had to work on this and be proactive and, really think things through instead of just letting it happen arbitrarily. So, but here are a couple of tips that I hope that you will consider applying into your life and get on track. Number one, I want you to remember mistakes are part of the process. It's part of learning. So if you make a mistake, that's okay. You learn, you grow. But the key point is to keep learning, keep growing, find ways to ride that wave. Find out, like, if you make a mistake, how can you improve it? What are some of the benefits of the journey that you're going to take while you're improving that? So doing that can be a little bit of a challenge, because sometimes when we're in the rut of something that goes wrong, and when we get into self-talk, which we're going to do in a minute here, it can be pretty devastating. And it's a cycle that can become a habit of something that goes wrong, and then you just focus on what was wrong instead of what lesson did I learn or what went right. Now, could you imagine when a baby starts crawling, if it keeps flopping on the floor and it just says, I fell on the floor and I can't crawl and it's horrible and I did this and it, and only focused on that process of learning how to crawl and only focused on the negative parts of the failure, it wouldn't be good. So I want you to start working on being kind to yourself like a baby. You fall down, you get back up. You learn from it. The next time that you're doing it, guess what? You're probably a little bit stronger. And watching children, grow is so amazing because there's so much that they're learning. And I think that gentleness that the parent offers the baby while it's growing, and even that gentleness that the baby offers itself is fine too. Now they might cry when they fall down, but they're going to get back up. And the same thing for you. I want you to be willing to get back up. One of the other things that is incredibly important, it's your circle of who are you around. Are you around a bunch of Betty Downers that are always complaining about their own existence or turning their sharp tongue towards you and criticizing you and running you down? And sometimes it's in subtle ways where it might not be them saying something blunt, but little nicks, little picks, little pokes. And like anything, if you keep poking at something long enough, it's going to disintegrate. The same thing with your mind and your energy that you have. It's going to be contributed by the people that, are surrounding you. If it's uplifting and inspiring, and I'm not saying this nonsense of being in a place where, let's say that you just want to live in a fantasy land that everything's fine, but nothing really is fine. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is sometimes you can have like full-fledged narcissists in your life, people that, run you down or, directly or indirectly. Be mindful of that. Change it. Start looking at what you can do to create an inner circle that is authentic, rich with love and TLC to help pull out the best in you. And also even just being willing to say, hey, I've got some encouraging words from one of my difficult moments that I went through. Does that make sense to you? Versus somebody who's going to say, you did this wrong, that wrong, this wrong, and let me complain about everything in my life. And then I'm going to run everything down in your life. It becomes a cesspool of just nothing that feels good. So if you take the time to be mindful of who are you allowing into your inner circle, you can create an amazing experience for you and even the people that you're bringing yourself around. So do that. Do that. Do that. Please be kind to yourself and be careful who you allow around you. Another thing is stop comparing yourself to other people's journey, whether it's something online, somebody's vanity number, their fan count, or what you think that they're doing, or what you think that they have. Their grass is greener on the other side. Well, you don't know. And everybody's journey is different. And we all experience different things at different times. So for you, it would be wise to say, I'm on this journey. I've got different things happening to me at different times. And the same thing with other people. So just be kind and respectful of other people and celebrate other people when they have an accomplishment of maybe something that you want to do or something you want to experience or whatever. Instead of coveting it, you find ways to either try to infuse that in your life or even ask them, how did you do that? How can I learn from you? Instead of becoming, that green, ugly, depressed, well, Shreks might not be depressed, but don't be full of that green envy and trying to have what other people have. You'll have your version of what you're supposed to have and what you create. But if you see somebody who maybe is on that path that you want, Find out what they're doing. Maybe they're on a path that you don't want. Find out what they're doing and then don't do that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you. All right, so moving on really quick. The other thing is stop trying to be perfect. Stay in a positive and proactive frame of mind. And this is what I was saying to you earlier is sometimes you're going to make mistakes. It's okay. It's a part of life. There's nothing that's perfect. In fact, I'm going to tell you, I've been doing events and marketing for over 20 years, well over 20 years, own my own agency for 17. And when it comes to event production, there's always going to be something that happens. A little snag here, a little faux pas there. Even at the highest level of perfection, where you might not see some of the things that went wrong, there's stuff that happens every single event. So while you're striving for perfection, while you're striving to go there, and you still want to make an effort to do the best that you possibly can, but while you are striving to get there, be positive and proactive at that. Meaning, have a positive mindset. Don't keep running yourself down if you make a mistake. Be proactive, going after your level of perfection. And then if you don't get there, you find out the next time, how do I fine tune this? That's one of the things when we do events is I don't like to repeat the same mistake over and over. I don't. I want to figure out what's the problem, how can I solve it, and then get back in there and just start like radiating love and good energy onto it. But then getting to the point where you say, okay, that's enough. It's time to keep my mindset going, be proactive about the positive change, and keep striving to do the best that I can do. And one of the other key things I think through all of it is when you start feeling hard on yourself, start looking back and saying, you know, what are some of the things that I have accomplished? Look at some of the goals. Start looking at what you have to be grateful for, because each of us has overcome something. Going back to that baby crawling and walking, you might be falling all the time, but I'll tell you, when they get that moment of they take that, you know, first 5-10 steps walking across the room, and then the family's cheering and they're feeling the sense of excitement and happiness. You know, maybe they don't articulate the word gratitude, but there's a positive energy that's filling them up. And the same thing with you. So look at things that you've done in the past. How did you accomplish it? What are things in your life that you have to be grateful for? Each of those are lessons that can help warm your heart and keep you focused. So embrace the gratitude, and overall what will happen is a sense of light will come in, and it'll evaporate all that heavy harshness that you might be putting on yourself. One of the other things that is super important, your self-talk. Sometimes we start talking to ourselves in a way that's harsher than we would to other people, but this is the thing. How would you like it if you said that to somebody else? Some of the stuff that comes out of your mouth about yourself. You know, like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Are you now, or did you just make a mistake? Oh my gosh, I'm so clumsy. I'm such a whatever. Knock it off. Start talking to yourself with a little bit of love and respect. You figure out the things that you've got to fix. You identify that, right? You start working on it. But you focus on that part and not running yourself down in a moment where maybe you didn't achieve a goal that you had. Maybe you didn't overcome something that you thought you were going to overcome. Maybe you didn't create something as big, as wonderful as you had hoped it would be. That's all right. You have other opportunities to do it, whether maybe not in that specific case of a project or something, but new things will happen in your life where you get to try again. As long as you're alive, you have the opportunity to keep growing. But a key for being able to stay on track for growing is remember to give yourself some love, some TLC, a little bit of focus on something good, and you deserve it. You really do deserve it. So I hope that some of these things help you stay on track for not being too hard on yourself. But just to recap really quick, one of the first things, if you want to get on track, stop being hard on yourself, is get out there, realize that mistakes happen, keep learning, keep being a part of the process. Also surround yourself with positive people who want you to be successful, who are cheering you on. Be proactive and not comparing yourself to other people. Be mindful when it happens, and if you see it set in, take a different approach. Also, stop trying to be perfect. It's okay if you make mistakes. Stay positive, stay proactive on improving yourself, and keep going. Also, embrace gratitude. Gratitude is a beautiful light that can evaporate all of that heavy, negative feeling. And one of the important ones, self-talk. Be mindful of the way that you're talking to yourself. Be willing to provide positive words of encouragement, sometimes even when you don't feel like it. But those are important words that you're saying because they're playing on repeat nonstop in your mind. So I do wish you just so much goodness, and I hope that you are willing to get in there and say it's time to take a different approach into this idea of being too hard on myself, and finally start saying, hey, you know what? It's time to start growing. It's time to start loving yourself. It's time to start being kind to yourself and just doing little things each day to improve. And I wish that for you each and every single day. So find something that inspires you. Sometimes if you're too low, that's all right. Pick up your Bible, read some scripture, turn on a motivational speaker. Do whatever you got to do to stay positive and keep moving. And in the meantime, be good, be happy, and be blessed. All right, you guys, we'll see you next time. Bye.